Fabio Silva does not have many people defending him after yesterday's performance, but Graeme Souness is one of the very few people willing to come out, defend Fabio Silva and respond to Chris Sutton's cheating and embarrassing penalty antics. Welcome back, guys, to Folk Football. Chris Sutton yesterday not happy about the fact Rangers received a penalty for contact on Fabio Silva. Now, was the penalty soft? A little bit. I mean, Johnson did get the ball. He left his leg in there. Fabio Silva went over his leg. You can see why a penalty was given. I think everybody can see why a penalty is given. Whether you think it was soft or not, you can see why the referee would do that. However, one person that couldn't see anything was Chris Sutton. But Graeme Souness has come out. He's not happy with this. He thinks Chris Sutton is effectively trying to change decisions for his commentary role, and he wants to button that Sutton. So Graeme Souness came out in defence of Fabio Silva and launched an attack of his own on Chris Sutton. This is what Graeme Souness had to say. Quote, "It's 100% a penalty. And I'll tell you, Silva is a diver. He is a diver and he's embarrassing himself. I'm sure they're talking about it up in Scotland, but that was a penalty. The defender cut him across the knee with his dangling foot. It's a penalty. He's brought him down. I'm reluctant to go in strong on Chris Sutton because he turned up at a charity event for me 2 weeks ago. We chatted together and he's funny. He did a bit for me and I thank him again for that. It was a dinner in Glasgow for the Deborah charity. But I can't believe how biased Chris is when he's talking about Rangers. He was saying it's embarrassing. It's not a penalty. Well, it was a penalty. It's easily a penalty. It's not even a discussion to have. And I'm wondering, do VAR listen to the commentary during a game? Because I'm thinking Chris is going that strong here. He's trying to influence whoever could be listening in the VAR studios. VAR in Scotland is different. It's not a Stokely Park, is it? They've got their own VAR there. Do they listen to the commentary? I thought Chris had gone mad on this. He's trying to influence someone in VAR. End of quote. So Graeme Souness is going to be a bit further here. He's not just attacking Chris Sutton for his what he believes is a wrong opinion. He's not just accusing Chris Sutton of being biased and perhaps not being 100% truthful because it's a penalty to Rangers, but he's also trying to accuse, or should I just say flat outright accusing Chris Sutton of potentially trying to manipulate decisions with his commentary. So that's what Graeme Souness seems to think now. Do VAR listen to the commentary? Not entirely sure. I don't think they do. I'm pretty sure they don't. Even if they did, I mean, would Chris Sutton's opinion be able to sway VAR? I mean, I get what Graeme Souness is saying. He thinks that like Chris Sutton is almost like cheerleading for Celtic, I guess, on commentary. He thinks that Chris Sutton is doing his best to convince anyone who is listening to him that that's embarrassing, that that's not a penalty. And I think Chris Sutton, with his commentary, he did come across as very biased and not impartial on Sunday. And I get it. He is a Celtic player, and you will tend to get Celtic players. They will be a little bit biased, and Rangers players will be a little bit biased. But I thought Chris Sutton on Sunday, some of the things he said, I'm not saying it's out of order. I don't want Chris Sutton cancelled or anything like that, but I think it was like the most biased I've ever heard Chris Sutton. Just the way he was talking about this penalty claim, and even when Cantwell and McGregor come face to face, and the first thing that Chris Sutton does is call out Cantwell by a negative nickname that he gave him instead of just calling what he's saying. You know, like any commentator would be like, well, here's two players coming together. What's happening here between McGregor and Cantwell? So yeah, I do agree with Graeme Souness. Listening to the commentary yesterday, it would have reminded you of when the Premier League did that fan zone commentary. So like back in the early 2000s, I don't know if they still do it or not, but the Premier League were experimenting with fan zone commentary. So in the big games, they would actually have a fan from each team to like come into this like fan studio, and they would offer you alternative commentary to the game, and because it was fans of certain clubs that were playing, they would be biased. They would have like outlandish things to say about, favourable things about their club, and then not so favourable things about their opponents. And that's kind of what Chris Sutton reminded me of yesterday, like the way the guy was getting on. So yeah, no, I do agree with Graeme Souness. I think he was being very biased yesterday. Probably the most biased I've ever heard Chris Sutton be. But Graeme Souness wasn't done with that. He came back to Fabio Silva, the man that has basically started all this, and he wasn't a big fan of him either. Despite defending him for the penalty, he thinks that Fabio Silva has done himself no favours with his performance yesterday. Graeme Souness said, quote, "I come back to your man Silva. He's causing a problem for himself. He won't get the penalties or fouls in the future because of his theatrics. But that, in my opinion, was 100% a penalty." End of quote. And I think we have seen that in football multiple times, where maybe players, it can work both ways. Players that go down easily, players that dive. And even when it comes to hotheads and aggressive players with bad tempers, I think they are more likely to get, like, an aggressive player, I think is more likely to get sent off, sometimes just even based on his reputation, based on his past, because he has been sent off multiple times, he has been getting involved in stuff that has led to maybe some physicality and him receiving a red. And it works the exact same for players that go down easily. I think once you get labelled a player that dives, it is harder to get decisions from officials, even when you are genuinely being fouled. I think the referees are sometimes reluctant to give you anything because they know the reputation that comes with you, and they think they're more likely to get a decision wrong by giving you a decision because of the amount of cheating and diving that you do. So yeah, Graeme Souness then responding to Chris Sutton. We'll see if Chris Sutton responds. I'm sure he will. Chris Sutton can never really stay quiet. He's always got something to say, and no doubt he will be responding to Graeme Souness, and he'll probably respond to the whole penalty claim as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he reunites his little feud with Todd Cantwell, because that seems to be what Chris Sutton is. He's a wind-up merchant, and he likes to do it. So anyway, guys, that's it. Graeme Souness called out Chris Sutton. Do you agree with Chris Sutton? Do you agree with Graeme Souness? I mean, I don't think the penalties were like one-sided either way. I can see both ways. I can see why you think it is soft, and I can also see why you think it should be a penalty. And maybe if it wasn't Fabio Silva, maybe if it was a foul on a player that hadn't been going down constantly, embarrassingly, all game, holding their face, feigning injury at the slightest touch, then maybe more people would be coming out and believing that, it was a clear penalty. So it probably just is working against Fabio Silva. But to be honest, he's only got himself to blame, because it was quite a very poor performance for him in terms of being a man, being a fair sportsman. Wasn't very good for Fabio Silva. And his footballing performance wasn't great either, so kind of just sucked all round. Anyway, guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one. Bean Fog Football. Thanks for watching, and peace.